Good morning, Kat. Good morning, Kat's community. Hello.
Good morning, King. Good morning, King's community. Hello. How is everyone this fine Saturday morning?
I think we're all great, and I'm personally very, very excited to talk about mindfulness. And not to be off topic, but I had mentioned earlier how amazing it would be if Kat learns how to be a ventriloquist and talk while she's drinking water. Press 1 in any chat if you agree with me. Thank you all.
Dial one.
Dial 1. Thank you all so much. But
All right.
mindfulness is the key for today, and I'd like you to get us started on that.
Yeah. So if you guys have watched my stream at all or follow me on social media, you know that I've talked about feeling super like burnt out, anxious, and stressed about streaming and just about other factors in my like everyday life. Um, so I kind of took a couple days off and tried to reassess what it was that I wanted to be doing and how I wanted to be doing it. So specifically for streaming, I took a step back and I was like, okay, well, this started out as a hobby. And what has it evolved into? Because I'm putting in a lot more time and it's evolved way past what a hobby would normally be. Um, and that was kind of like my first step into my aha moment, and thinking about mindfulness and how to integrate that into other aspects of my life. I was super into mindfulness practices, I would say maybe around this time last year, because I was working for a brand and mindfulness and gratitude were the specific values that we were trying to uphold as a brand and push forward as our message. So I had like a ton of knowledge and like social media assets and all those things revolving around that topic, that I've started to slowly, work into kind of my streams and the content that I've been putting online. Um, but yeah, so if you guys follow me on TikTok, you know that I've kind of put out like helpful videos for streamers, but I'm also trying to, I don't know, get streamers to slow down and put out mindful tips for people to just help them reconnect with, um, what exactly like brings them joy and like the finer aspects of this living life. I don't know, King, if you've experienced something similar in the past couple of days, like, if you've been having a hard day and you just kind of like need to take a second for yourself and slow down and actually think about all the different things that are going on in your life and try to like narrow down into the reason why you're feeling these emotions about these particular things. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And in fact, the last too few days, I have had a lot and an immense amount of trouble because I want to continue giving the effort and the gratitude, as you were saying, towards my stream and towards my community. But a big problem that I've personally been having is I need to know when to take a step back. I also
Mm-hmm.
need to know, and this goes out to all of you who stream or do any sort of job or any sort of hobby, it's okay to take a day off.
Yeah.
You don't I know that the feeling, the pressure of being on and being constant and not knowing any different because that's what you were trained to do. Like myself, I have been raised as a salesman, as a customer service representative. So a lot of the time for me it's not really putting on a face, but it's I'm definitely giving more of my soul and my
Yes.
heart. And if, as most of you who come to my streams might well know, I can be emotional. I can be raw. I can be vulnerable. And none of those are bad traits. None of those are bad things to do. But when done too much, when overindulging in things like that, which, yes, being raw, being emotional, that's an indulgence. That's something that makes
Absolutely.
you and can make you feel good. I need to take a step back and remember that this is my vessel. This is my brain. This is my heart. This is my soul. They are mine. I'm building them, I'm making myself better, and I
Yes.
need to be able to take those days back and work on that. Not just work on the things that I think people want. And also
Yeah,
when it comes to
absolutely.
streaming, I think it needs to be not only a safe, secure place for people to come in, but it needs to be a safe, secure place for you. You don't want to be in there when people are just heckling you.
100%.
You don't want, and I have quite quite a number of streamer friends, and everybody's a little bit different, you know. Um, but getting back to the point at hand, when you are thinking about when your stream, when you are thinking about making the next thing better, when you are thinking about your path in life in this realm, you need to
Hmm.
be mindful of today, of this moment, of your own existence.
Yeah. Actually, Snazzy, that point that you were saying, like, you don't want to be giving too much of yourself so there's nothing for you left, is like one of the mindfulness practices. Or, everyone talks about setting boundaries. But when people talk about setting boundaries, I think we think about boundaries being like saying no to things, or its boundaries are painted in almost this negative light where you're taking something away from someone else or stopping someone from enjoying something. Um, in terms of mindfulness and setting compassionate boundaries, you want to flip that way of thinking. Instead of saying no, you want to think of, okay, what are my what do I need from this situation in order to give everyone what they deserve, or in order for everyone to reap the most benefits from the situation. So, for example, like you were saying, you don't want to be heckled by your chat, but you also want your chat to feel like they can talk openly, and you want everyone to be seen and heard. And then in that case, your compassionate boundary would be setting just simple chat rules to make sure that yes, everyone can speak openly, but everyone else also still feels safe and respected while they're doing so, while they're engaging in your chat. And another compassionate boundary that you can use as a streamer is like setting time limitations for yourself, for streaming. Setting a schedule is a good example for this, especially if you have other like things in your life going on, like if you work, if you have other hobbies, you want to give attention to your family and friends. Setting a time limit on how much attention and like how many hours you actually put into streaming is a good boundary to set for yourself, because you're just adding that extra structure to your life, and you're not it's just you're not going to let it like overtake everything else in your life. You want to kind of maintain that balance through setting that boundary.
I mean, it's really good that you brought up structure and streaming, because a lot of the things that I tell people is you need to set yourself a schedule, and that could be a very hard thing to do. You and I know very well that we have friends that stream at the same time as us, but by setting your own schedule and also making it accessible to the people who generally come to your community is not only a good way to grow, but it's kind of like that win-win situation where you're creating this
Mm-hmm.
this like today, King and Cat at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love knowing I'm going to go on from these hours. I love
Yes.
knowing that people know that they can expect it today, and adding a little bit of structure and discipline in your life is never a bad thing. It's always about growth. It's always about finding a better version of who you are, whether that be your stream personality or your in real life personality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people benefit from having structure in their life, and it might not always be apparent, but for example, with COVID, or for the most part, a lot of people have found that have extra time on their hands, and our streamer friends and us, we took up streaming, which is great. It's a great use of our time. We get to socialize with each other. We've met amazing people. It's a way for us to get out there while integrating our hobbies, like playing games or just chatting or singing and all that fun stuff. Um, but like setting a schedule for yourself, integrating that structure will allow you to kind of like preserve the longevity of the kind of like hobby or the task that you have set at hand, because once your life starts getting busier, or like other things start getting in the way, you can rely on that schedule, on that structure that you've already built in place, and it'll help you moving forward in your life. At least for me, I found that like even scheduling my time down to the hour, back when I was like really, really busy in high school, for example, I used to have cheerleading practices at 6:45 in the morning. So I would wake up at 5 o'clock, get ready, go to cheerleading practice. School would start at 8:30, have my classes, lessons after school, music rehearsal till like 7 or like whatever, like 5, 6. After that, go to work, part-time job, work retail, get home at like 11, go to bed, do it all over again every single day, down to the hour. I had so many things scheduled. And that kind of carried on into my university life and kind of stuck with me, that having the habit of having a rigorous schedule. And now, like being in COVID and not really having those responsibilities that I needed to stick to, I was kind of falling apart for a couple months. Like I had said last week, I was like staring out the window, not doing anything, just taking cat naps in the day, literally embodied a cat. But with streaming, I have been able to kind of reintegrate at least a level of structure in my life.
Well, moving forward with mindfulness and this particular topic, even though I do very, very agree that structure and discipline in a schedule is important for your life, I also think on the other side of the track, it is as equally as important to be able to go with the flow.
Yes.
I like to tell people, mostly new friends, I'm a very easygoing person unless something morally doesn't agree with me. So basically, most of the things in my life, I'll be like, yeah, that sounds great. I'll totally do that. But even simple things, even if something hits my moral compass, I've learned that if I say no to those things, or am able to make free flowing plans because of something I disagree with, that it's the opposite end. So you're getting the mindfulness from the structure, but there's also freedom and liberation in being able to say, well, this plan sucks, we're just going to wing it.
Yeah. And I think this is where mindfulness also comes in, is knowing when you can, like when to toggle between those two, and knowing that it's okay to, implement that structure in life, but it's also okay to break away from that structure. And like you said, go with the flow. Mindfulness, the heart of mindfulness is just knowing the reason and the intention why you're doing these things and acting through these things. One of my first mindfulness TikTok was the tip was to begin and conduct yourself by setting a purpose and intention for each stream, or when you adopt that into everyday life, just set an intention for the day. So the example I gave for streaming was, okay, today I will continue to build a meaningful connection with my viewers. I will actively listen and read their comments, ask questions, offer thoughtful feedback and commentary, and invite my audience into my gameplay, or to engage with my stream. Same thing in everyday life. You start your day and you're like, okay, I'm going to go to work. But what do you want to achieve in work? What do you want to achieve in the overall arching day? What do you want, at the end of the day, when you sit down and you kind of just think about all the things that you've done, what do you want to have pulled from all of that? So Saturday, we have this lovely stream together in the morning. I'm probably going to be streaming later tonight for doing some Twitch things. I also need to pack and clean the house before I jet set, before I take off tomorrow for the cottage for a week.
I mean, one of the worst things ever is to come home to a dirty house. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but it's
the anxiety.
Horrible.
You're like, I'm not coming home. Someone clean it and then let me know when it's clean.
And I've tried to pay the cat to do it, and he just said no.
He's like, just leave me enough food. That's why I got the automatic cat feeder.
Basically.
But yeah, so my intention for the day is just to make sure that I am set up and I feel comfortable enough to leave by making sure that I kind of work through my checklist and get all these things done that I think I need to.
And there's a wonderful sense of accomplishment in that too. It's just this simple things is like,
yeah.
I have a couple dishes in the sink that I need to do. I know my life today, tonight, and tomorrow is going to be better when I get that small task done. And since we're talking about the task of and scheduling and doing things, we need to be mindful of what big versus small tasks mean to
Mm-hmm.
you, and the power of writing a short list. So don't write a list of things that you need to complete, like, oh, I've been meaning to fix that drawer for 3 years now and I haven't done it. Well, listen, Frank, you're probably not going to do it today. I'm gonna be frank with you. But that's
Nice.
thank
Fun.
you. But that's okay. It's okay if you don't do that today. However, if you take the time and write down, maybe I have a couple dishes to do. I have to clean the cat box. I know these things are
Mm-hmm.
going to take under 5 minutes, and the moment I'm done with those, there's actually this great, I can't remember who said it. I can't even remember where I found it. But there was this great, if it takes 2 minutes or less, then it's totally worth doing right now.
Yeah.
There is no putting it off anymore. That is essentially a short list. So write 5 things that need to be done. And once you complete that list, you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. And you know what? Screw it. I'm going to vacuum too.
Yes.
There's a little bit more progress that you didn't have to write down. So it doesn't have to be, I've been putting off this, I've been meaning to do this. It can be just a short, simple, sweet project or cleaning thing that you should have done anyway. It'll take 2 minutes and you'll feel so much better.
I completely agree with this. I don't know about you, but I am 100% a list person. I can take mental notes all day, but if I don't write it down, it's not going to get done. Like,
Sure.
so I will just like, I have my little notebook here, literally just jot down like notes from work and like little just everything in my life, and all my scribbles everywhere. Even on my phone, I have a ton of like notes, lists everywhere. Um, but yeah, I absolutely agree with what you're saying. And when you write it down too, you like when you're just thinking of these thoughts and they're just floating around your head, they can feel really overwhelming. You feel like you just have so much to do, and then I don't, like for me, when I just let those thoughts just kind of like float around and just come in and out, and I forget them and then I remember them, I get really overwhelmed because I think that, oh my god, I have too much. There's just too much going on and I'm never gonna get done, so I'm not gonna do it at all. Like I'm just not going to do it. But when I actually write them down and I'm able to see like what each task is or what each idea is, and then when I write them down, I can actually think about what each thing entails. Like, okay, how much time, like you were saying, how much time is this going to take? Like, how much energy am I going to have to exert? And, what resources am I going to need? How easy or difficult is it going to be to get done? I'm more inclined to just, bang them out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, fold the laundry. I don't know why I'm dreading about folding laundry. It's going to take me like 20 minutes. Like, let's go. Let's go.
And then it'll be done, and then you're not going to have to
Yeah,
worry about it until,
exactly.
unfortunately, the next time you have to do laundry, because it is a never ending battle.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
This goes into another mindfulness technique that I love to do. And it's just something that a lot of people do in general, but journaling kind of goes into the like, writing down lists, just similar idea, but just doing a brain dump every once in a while to just get everything out of your head can really help you achieve just a little bit more mental clarity. Um, a lot of people, sometimes you see people will, like, if they're really really angry, they'll do that thing where they write it down and then they'll rip up the paper or like burn it. But it's just getting those loose thoughts in your head out somewhere, and then you don't have to burn it, but at least it's there for you, and then at least you can revisit it and then you can kind of reassess what you were feeling. I cringe, but I always like to read some of my old journal entries and kind of look at how I was feeling, like a couple months ago or like years ago. And it's very embarrassing for me to read, even though I'm the only one reading it. But it's kind of nice to see how you've progressed emotionally and mentally. And, once you've distanced yourself from the situation, you kind of understand more or are able to see different perspectives more. Um, from when you were just living that moment. And then I think you can pull and learn a lot from that.
Well, I believe I've mentioned it before, but I think part of the heart of the human experience is perspective. If you get a change in perspective, that could be the best thing that has ever happened to you in any sort of sense. So every single person out there, don't be afraid of your perspective change. That just
Yeah.
means you grow. That means you're learning something different. And that's a good thing most of the time. Getting
Yes.
back to it, to the journaling, you don't have to build, like she was saying, you don't have to build an entire effigy to these words and
Yeah.
burn them. However, even something as simple, and I cannot stress this enough to my friends out there listening and watching, because I know I personally have a really tough time reaching out when I need help.
Hmm.
But even just, I call one of my very close friends, Erin, all the time, and I tell her, I'm like, listen, I love you. I need you to shut up and let me just vomit
Vomit. Yeah, word vomit.
nonsense. And it's not always about being fixed. It's not always about finding help to your problem. It's about taking that opportunity, taking that moment to actually just talk about it, because that's
Yeah.
what you need. You have these thoughts bouncing around your head, and you're afraid of what they mean. You're afraid of what they're gonna do. But if you talk about it, or if you write it down, like Kat was saying, they're less there. They're less in your face, and you can move forward and figure out how to help yourself, how
Exactly.
to overcome those, how to break through your own emotional ceiling.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Like, if you think of thoughts like energy, like when you have something like chock full of sugar and then you're like just brimming with energy, you need to do something. And if you try to sit still, your leg will start shaking. That's like those little thoughts bouncing around in your head. If you don't do anything with them, they're just going to keep shaking around in your brain. You just need to get them out. Just get out those loose thoughts, get out that loose energy.
And it's also
And then you
okay to
can move
have
on with your
them.
life.
But it's
Yes.
okay to have them. I cannot stress how much it is okay to have these thoughts. You're a human being. We probably shouldn't even exist. We were probably an accident. It's okay to have thoughts that might go against what you normally think. They're called intrusive thoughts a lot of the time. If you're driving down the road and you say, and your brain goes, I wonder if I would just like swerve into traffic, you're not going to actually do
Oh my
that,
gosh.
right? It's just an intrusive thought. And so when these thoughts come on, it's our job as people who are growing and learning to work through those, to not then
Mm-hmm.
question our own morals, but to figure out why these dark thoughts. I'm somebody who has problems not judging my own self-worth by how
Mm-hmm.
much money I have, because of how society, how shaped me, how my trauma shaped me, um, and that's okay, because I'm working through it. I'm working through self-love. I'm working through self-care, and I'm acknowledging that there's something wrong with that. And I think that on a base level, being mindful for yourself is acknowledging when there's something wrong,
Yes,
acknowledging when something needs to
absolutely.
change, even if it's tough, even if it sucks, even if you're going to cry, you'll feel better.
Yeah,
You faced it, you tried to conquer it.
exactly. That's essentially what mindfulness is, and like at its heart is just the the act of asking those questions, like why, or seeking the answers behind feelings and emotions. If like you were saying, if your feeling of self-worth is tied to your monetary wealth, like, well, why do I feel this way, and is there any way that I can change this, or what in my environment is like triggering this right now? Like, mindfulness is what it is, just thinking about the things around you and trying to figure out how you can, I don't know, change them or adopt them to make um, your experience here on earth just a little bit better, a little bit calmer, a little bit, I don't know,
Or live with
more
them
light.
so that they cause you less pain.
Yes.
Live with them, and I'm not telling you to accept blindly everything that has happened to you because that would be silly. However, not living in your trauma, not dwelling on it, but accepting that little piece of darkness, that little piece of possibly bad is okay. I mean, that's just part of your soul.
Hmm.
It's about what you do with it. I choose to use my personal experiences, my personal traumas, my personal life goals and aspirations with people that I care about. Because if I can help one person not feel bad, if I can help one person not have to feel lonely or scared like I
Hmm.
have, and of course you can't do this all the time, you're human. But I think that those are right steps in the right direction for me, and that's what I want to do with my darkness. I want to use it to bring light.
Yeah. I think another important thing to pull from what you were saying is like, you're taking steps, and focusing on one thing at a time can really help you work through even the toughest situations. Um, you know, goes in the same vein when you were saying you make a list and you check things off your list, like one thing at a time, and then suddenly that list doesn't feel so ominous or like overwhelming, because you're it's not a bunch of things to do, but you're focusing on the single thing. That's another mindfulness technique, is literally to just, sometimes you need to put those blinders on. Sometimes you just need to focus all your energy on the one thing in front of you at hand, in order to, be more present in the other facets of your life. For example, if I'm to bring this back to streaming, if there's something about my stream that I really like, has been really bugging me or just buzzing around in my head, and I need to fix it, then I know that I drop everything, if nothing else is too important, and just get it done, so I can go about the rest of my day and not have to just be constantly obsessing over this one little thing that I want to get to eventually.
No, absolutely, and I do the same thing, and it's one of the reasons why I have trouble sleeping. I love streaming, everybody, but the immense amount of thought that I try to put into everything that I do on here keeps me up, and like I will send up messages at 2:30 in the morning to people just so that I can clear my head of that one thing, knowing that they're asleep, they're probably not going to answer me. I just need to get this thing out. I need this person to know, and I need to close my eyes and be able to get some rest.
Yeah, absolutely. um Snazzy, you need to take a break. You need to take a step back and
Well,
give some attention to the other aspects of your life,
it's also tough because what streaming has done for me in the past 2 months has not only lifted my spirits. I mean, it's an emotional roller coaster. We all know that, but it has lifted my spirits in a very wonderful way, and it has brought me so many incredible, wonderful friends.
Hmm.
Um, but it's hard for me to remember that there's a life outside of it, specifically going through what we're going through. I mean,
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
my state in America by itself is not doing well. We are more and more
Hmm.
cases every day, so it's hard for me to like, I don't go to the bar, I don't really go out and do much, but because people are treating this like it's some kind of joke, it makes me want to leave my house less. And
Yeah,
so I'm
absolutely.
sitting on the couch, which is right behind my desk more or less all day. Then I'm like, it'd be great. Let's go on Twitch. Let's see what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in the same boat. And I think a lot of people also are, COVID lockdowns, you just are going out less. Neon and I have not left this house. Like, the only time I've left this house is to go next door to my parents and just to say hi and what's up. I don't even consider that leaving the house, because I'm still in my pajamas. I don't care. But yeah, and our place is quite small. Like, we have basically like a one-bedroom basement situation. We've just been chilling in the same space for like 3 months now. And then even before that, Toronto has been in and out of lockdown since last March. So it's definitely, this scenario has taken a toll, I think, on everyone's just sense of self and just mental clarity, because it's just a general fog that we're living through.
but we are doing it together. And one of the greatest things that I've seen is the immense amount of community and support that Twitch just came out of left field with. I mean, I always knew that Twitch had it in it to be a really
Mm-hmm.
great platform for people to meet each other, but in the last few months I've seen so much of a spark of kindness, of wholesomeness, of community, of love with each other, and it's wonderful to see, because that's what we need right now, is a little bit more love.